there's been so many times in my life where so many of my relationships, my friendships included, have really, really been put under strain and almost ended because I have had a real problem with alcohol my whole life since I first started drinking. And I am a blackout drunk. So if I have one too many, I will wake up the next morning and have no recollection of what happened the night before. And there's always that feeling of knowing that you need to apologize for something, but actually not knowing what it is.
Yeah, and it's kind of that, I guess it's that issue with experimentation. I mean, it's a little bit different for these two ladies. They're older and they're into a place where I suppose, well, you would assume that you'd experimented. But I suppose it's really big in your 20s, particularly for groups of girlfriends that are going out and clubbing and partying for the first time and trying to find their own balance with alcohol and not assuming, and we don't all know this, we've all been there, where we know, well, we assume that we can all handle the same amount.
Yeah, and that's never been the case for me. And I know that a lot of people, like yourself and a lot of other people that kind of go, there was a phase where, I had to know what my limits were, and there were nights where you're an idiot.
Where you annoyed everyone and your mates.
But for me, I think what I struggle with is doing it repeatedly, like weekend in, weekend out.
You became that girl.
And I was that girl for years.
And that girl is, and I don't mean that girl in that kind of nasty bit, but I think that it happens. It really happens in lots of groups of friendship with your guy or girl, where your mates are the ones that have to kind of look over their shoulder and make sure that you're okay, or put you in a cab, and make sure that they're onto you a little bit.
And it was quite full on, because it got to a point where my mates kind of had a bit of an intervention with me, where they just said, we actually can't keep doing this. We actually cannot be friends if this kind of stuff continues. And there's been many a times that I've almost broken up with my boyfriend Zane over it, because he just said, I just can't handle it. What's the deal? But there was this thing where in my head I was like, well, I'm not an alcoholic because I'm not drinking during the week. But then, you go back and you kind of do it again, and then feel so depressed and down about that then you come back and you do it again the next week. And so it is full on, and it's taken me a really long time to kind of get my head around knowing what you got to do, and that is just to be really conscious and aware of how much you're drinking and counting your drinks, and knowing that you can't actually keep up with everybody else.
Absolutely. And I think, look, I'm not going to downplay what you've just spoken about to kind of make it like it's something so light, but I suppose, like I said, in your 20s you kind of go through and you push it. It's often that's the case, and I think I can't speak for you, but you have certainly seemed to learn that you know how much you can kind of drink, and you can go out and have a good time, and you've got a bit of a nab on it now. I would assume that. Like, I haven't seen that kind of behaviour for a while. So I suppose there is an essence of you being conscious and aware of it, and making sure that you don't assume your intake of booze can be the next person, because I think we're all genetically a little bit different as well.
And it is shit that you have to learn it through those kind of bad experiences, because they were really bad. But, everyone's different, and it takes longer to learn things than other people.
And I will say this, if you are affected by alcohol, or kind of in this situation where you're that person, you're that mate, and you're a bit stuck, I would just give someone a call and get some help. Lifeline's 13 11 14 if you do need a bit of a hand with it. It's nice that you shared it, and I do think it's great that you have the awareness to kind of keep on top of it, but it is, I think, a battle that a lot of people